Well, man, let's do a brief follow up on this high five gate that's going on in Indiana that the Caitlin Clark fans so called say is between Raven Johnson and Caitlin Clark. We produced a show yesterday talking about how the Caitlin Clark fans are pushing this narrative that Raven Johnson, their number 10 pick of the Indiana Fever, snubbed Caitlin Clark on a high five. Well, let's get to the truth of the matter. And Raven Johnson finally spoke today. And if you pay attention to what she said, she basically exposed the lies that the Caitlin Clark fans are trying to push out there. You are now tuned into a brand new episode of the Simply Ball Dropping podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Well, today, man, we got to talk about how Raven Johnson basically exposed the lies of the high five gate that's going around by these Caitlin Clark fans. We're going to talk about it right after this. Well, guys, like I told you guys yesterday, like I like to call it, it's the high five heard around the world, or lack thereof of the high five. Now, let's get off into it. Let's get off into the real truth about this high five and how these Caitlin Clark fans or these Caitlin Clark junkies are trying to push this narrative out there to keep everything going between Raven Johnson and Caitlin Clark. Only because the Caitlin Clark fans are upset that Raven Johnson got selected number 10 overall to the Indiana Fever, and that is not what the Caitlin Clark fans wanted. And so they blame it on the organization like, oh man, why are they drafting Raven Johnson? They could have got somebody else out there. They just pushing this narrative out there. I know the WNBA season is about to begin. Training camp was in full effect yesterday. And the first thing that the Caitlin Clark fans do, they find a little small clip of a high five interaction and they run straight to YouTube and they produce videos about, I told you so, Raven Johnson is jealous of Caitlin Clark. You see what she did? She snubbed her on a high five. Well, basically, if you really look at the video and break the video down, as the high five, the team interaction was going on, actually, somebody's foot got kicked. And Raven Johnson looked down, and by the time she looked down, that's why Caitlin Clark pulled her hand back and kept going. So somebody's foot got kicked, and that's all that took place. But this is the parts of the clips that Caitlin Clark fans want to talk about. They don't talk about all the good stuff. They don't talk about the defense that Raven Johnson was playing yesterday. Now, in today's interview with Raven Johnson, before their second day of training camp, Raven Johnson basically, if you pay attention to what she said, she basically has exposed all the lies that was told about the high five gate. I want y'all guys to pay attention to what Raven Johnson said, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to dive a little bit more deeper into this whole situation. So let's take a listen to what Raven Johnson had to say. Pay attention.
Buddy, last week.
Oh, it was good. I learned from a lot of the vets here. I was listening. They were giving me, a good welcoming. They were telling me how training camp was going to be. I thought it was very competitive. But it felt good to be here, honestly, and to play with these talented women.
The whole just vibe of it, has it kind of like hit you that you're like here now and in the midst of it, or is it kind of like, hey, you're just taking it kind of day by day and see how it flows out?
Well, it hasn't hit me, but it's it hit me. So I don't know how to explain it. Like, I'm in the middle. I'm kind of like just going with the flow, kind of just being myself, just always smiling, bubbly, always making people laugh, which I do that. I do a great job of that. So I think I'm in the middle.
It's
Has it helped having a couple other former South Carolina players on this roster to kind of help ease in and ease that transition?
Yeah, it has helped. I think other people too. Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, Lacey Hall, Kelsey Mitchell. They all great people to be around. They help me when I don't know things. They know the system really well. So I asked them a lot of questions yesterday. I don't know. They probably got annoyed by me, but I did ask them a lot of questions yesterday.
Steph talked about defensive intensity specifically this year. What do you think, obviously, as defensive player of the year, you can bring?
Yeah, my defense tenacity. I'm like a gnat on the ball. Every time when I get the defense, I want to be the person to turn people over and get my teammates extra possessions to shoot the ball or whatever that may be. But yeah, when it comes to defense, I think that's what I thrive in, which is getting defensive stops.
Now, you guys heard what Raven Johnson had to say. Now, guys, let me ask you a question. Does that sound like a person that's jealous of Caitlin Clark? Because she did mention that she was asking Caitlin Clark questions because the reporter asked her, and she said other veterans on the team. She named Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hall. She named Kelsey Mitchell, and also Caitlin Clark. Now, does that sound like a person that's jealous of Caitlin Clark and would snub her in a high five? Now, let's break this down a little bit deeper. Now I hear a narrative out there that it's the Indiana Fever social media that is putting this stuff out there to create drama between the players. Nah, I'm not letting y'all get away with that. It is the Caitlin Clark fans that get these certain clips, and that's the one that is creating the drama. The Caitlin Clark fans. You can't blame it on the Indiana Fever front office or the social media team for showing what they want to show. It's what the Caitlin Clark fans choose to pick and create their content around. Let me say that again. It is what the Caitlin Clark fan base is choosing to pick up and create their content around, because they showed a little high five and this is what they wanted to talk about. And now I hear people out there backtracking, talking about, no, it's the Indiana Fever front office and their social media team that's putting these clips out there for people to see. Nah, it's what the Caitlin Clark fan base picks up on and wants to talk about to keep this going. Because if you listen to Raven Johnson, well-spoken, she sounds kind of shy, but she gave kudos to Caitlin Clark because she's picking her brain. And she also said they probably got mad at me for asking so many questions. So I want you guys to ask yourself this. Does that sound like a type of person that is jealous of Caitlin Clark? That sounds like a type of person that is happy to be in Indiana and want to be on this Indiana team and learn from all the great vets that she got on the team and utilize the sources to get herself better. And then she talked about the defense. Nobody wants to talk about the defensive tenacity that Raven Johnson brings to this team. So it's the Caitlin Clark fans that are creating this drama. So you can't walk it down and retreat dribble now and talk about, no, it's the Indiana Fever front office. It's Stephanie White. It's the owners. It's the social media team putting these clips out there for people to talk about. No, it's what y'all choose to talk about. There's other storylines to talk about with the Indiana Fever on how Stephanie White is trying to build this team to be real competitive and make a run at a WNBA championship. But if it don't fit your narrative and it's not all about Caitlin, y'all don't want to hear it. So now y'all pick and choose what y'all want to chop up and bring it to the forefront on these YouTube streets. But then you got people out there backtracking. I don't have to say no names on who's backtracking out there. These videos are surface. You'll see it. You'll see people talking about, oh, it's the front office, it's the social media team putting out the drama that wants to, drama sales and stuff like that. Now, it's the Caitlin Clark fans that choose to create their content around that drama. That was lack thereof. It was nothing to it. It was no big deal. And I'm glad that Raven Johnson spoke and she exposed the lies about the high five gate. I see everybody in the comments section. #salute. If you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, turn your post notifications on so you know every time Simply Ball drops another hot banger. Oh yeah, just in case I forgot. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It might not be for you, but it might be for them. And this is going to wrap up another episode of the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. I'm your host and the man behind the mic, K-Sap. Catch you on the next one. Deuces.
Thanks for listening to the Simply Ball Dropping Podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share on all major platforms.
That's all, folks.